Now in module number 3, we give a very short introduction to the repayment plans for federal student loans. Now hopefully you remember from the very first module that once you know what you've borrowed, who you're working with, and when the loans come due, and you've got a pretty good idea about how you want to go about managing your student loan debt, step number 3 is simply to choose a repayment plan for those loans. Now, there are a number of different repayment plans on federal loans. We're talking about direct unsub, direct plus, and direct consolidation for those of you who may already have direct consolidation loans or who choose to consolidate. But guys, keep it simple. Every single repayment plan falls into one of two categories. The repayment plan is either based on a time period called time-driven, or it's based on income called income-driven repayment plans. And we have a separate module number 4, on the income-driven repayment plans. Now, time-driven repayment plans are quite easy if you can afford them, but that tends to be the rub. With some of the loan balances you guys have got, a time-driven repayment plan, at least to start, could be problematic. But this is where the loan servicer literally just takes your balance, principal and interest, and they spread or amortize the payments out over a designated period of time, either 10 years or 25 years. It's the same payment every month. And one of the nice things about the time-driven repayment plans is the payment calculation doesn't have a thing to do with your income, your marital status, how you file your taxes, or your family size. It's just the same payment every single month. And one thing to note about the time-driven repayment plans, whether you're using the 10-year plan or even the 25-year plan, the minimum monthly payment will always cover more than the interest you owe each month, meaning your principal balance will start to come down immediately if you use a level time-driven repayment plan. Obviously, the balance will come down faster if you're using the 10-year standard plan. Now, look at that third bullet, very important. At the end of the term, if you just make the minimum payment under either the 10-year plan or the 25-year plan, at the end of the term, the debt is gone. There is nothing to forgive. So if you use a time-driven plan, you need to not be thinking about the public service loan forgiveness program. This is like a mortgage. If you did a 15-year mortgage and you made the minimum payment at the end of 15 years, the bank has been paid off and that house is yours. So once again, these are time-driven repayment plans. They happen to be very popular with private loans, including refinance loans. And we do have a separate module later on refinancing with a private lender. Please take a look at time-driven plans first. But if you can't afford the payments under a time-driven repayment plan, specifically the standard 10-year plan, that's when you want to take a look at income-driven repayment plans like Pay and Repay. These plans are designed for borrowers who have a significant gap between their federal debt and their income, who simply cannot afford a standard 10-year plan. The bigger the gap, the more likely you are going to need an income plan. That's why these are so popular for medical residents. Now, Pay and Repay are the most popular plans. In all likelihood, if you use an income plan, you're going to be using one of those. We have a separate module on how to choose between Pay and Repay. But please note, semantics are extremely important. There is a much older income-driven repayment plan that you have likely heard of called income-based repayment, IBR. If you're using Pay or Repay, please do not reference to your loan servicer that you're using IBR. That is a much older plan. You're going to be using Pay or Repay if you use an income-driven repayment plan. So semantics are very important. Always know which of the income-driven repayment plans you are using. Now remember, with a time-driven plan, the level version, the payments never change. But with an income-driven repayment plan, the payments are based on income and family size, and very important, they change annually. We hope the information in this very short module on time-driven and income-driven repayment plans will prove beneficial for you. This is the end of module number 3.